your starting lineup. Bring in the heat. Ricky Calico. Hunter. Brody. Jen Scordo. And finally, your host, Tyrone Johnson. It's the best show ever. On 97.5, the Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Good afternoon. So much going on here on the best show ever here on 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia. 610-632-0975 is the number to participate. Happy Halloween, and let's get right to the opening statements. We start with the word of the day, and the word of the day today is surplus. Because how much sports do we have? It is literally impossible for us to talk about everything that's going on today within 4 hours. I don't know if it'd be enough time. We had 8 hours or 16 hours or 24 hours. It's that much going on, and we can go so many different ways. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the Philadelphia Union for making their first MLS Cup final. Oh, my goodness, I was in the building last night. Doop. So I want to give them a ton of credit. It was so electric down there. So tip of the cap to them, Jim Curtin, to the whole squad, and everybody that was down there. It was good to see everybody who said hello. That was nice. All right. World Series Game 3 is tonight with the series tied 1-1. And this is the crazy thing about context within the game. And that's why around here we respect the sportsman, because it takes the sportsman to look at the nuance of the situation with the Philadelphia Phillies or with sports in general, and that's what we want to do with all of you today. On its face, like if you just look at nothing else and you're very remedial, you'll say the Phillies went out to Houston, got the split, so they come back home, and everyone should be happy. And if you looked at nothing else, sure. I don't know how to feel about these Phillies going into this game tonight, because we thought the path to them winning this World Series, which I picked in 7. Hunter, I believe you also picked them in 7. And I believe that Jen and Ricky picked them in 6, was good starting pitching and then timely hitting to go with it. The starting pitching in both games 1 and 2 was terrible. Now, we can fake. That doesn't mean that they're terrible players. It means that in 2 games in the World Series, 9.1 innings, 10 runs, that's not good. Neither one of them. There are people out there trying to send Bale to Nola. Nola was not good enough. That's 2 in a row where Nola hasn't been good enough, and Wheeler wasn't good enough, period. Is Houston cheating? Most likely. That's what they do. But you have to overcome that because you're playing the Houston Astros. You knew that. So now going into Game 3 with Syndergaard, then Ranger Suarez Game 4, and back to Nola Game 5, I don't know if I'm at the point where I can rely on Nola in a Game 5 to feel as good about the split as I would normally. Falling behind 5-0 twice is not good. It's great that Game 1. That was fantastic they came back and won that game. I'm still happy that they did it. But obviously, we don't have to be brain surgeon or sportsman to know, if you keep falling behind 5-0 with your starting pitching, you're not going to win the World Series. So I almost don't know how to feel about this surplus situation we have here, because I want the Phillies to win. I picked the Phillies to win. I still think there's obviously, with 3 straight home games, a clear path for them to win. But at the same time, I can't overlook the fact that the strength of the team was the actual biggest weakness of the team over the weekend. I can't get there. We'll get there, and we'll talk more about that. 610-632-0975. And, of course, the Eagles. Boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. They just go out there, come off the bye, and they kick teams in the butt. They got to rest a bunch of people in the fourth quarter. Short turnaround to Thursday. We'll talk about that as well. The Sixers won 2 in a row. The Flyers lost, but they got a back-to-back home. There's so many things going on right now. But Hunter, First, I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Thanks, everybody who came out to Fan Fest. That was your first, full Fan Fest. I hope that was a great experience for you. And what the heck is going on with this series so far?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for FanFest as well. It was very overwhelming to get all the support, and everyone wanted to take pictures with us as a show. It was fantastic, so thank you guys so much for that. In regards to the game, what kind of stinks to me is you knew how important Game 2 was for the Houston Astros, because if you go down 0-2 heading back to Philadelphia, you're in a horrendous spot. I think Jason Stark had a tweet out there around 88% or so. So, I mean, it was really right on the money for the Phillies to take advantage of being able to sneak away with Game 1 and putting Justin Verlander in the conversation again of what the hell is going on with this guy during the World Series. It doesn't make much sense. But it seemed as if they got punched in the face with the right hook very, very heavy early. 2 doubles right off the bat with 2 pitches, 3 doubles and 4 pitches, and then Sosa not being able to make a throw, Reese not being able to pick it, Matt Vierling not getting underneath the ball enough to have a throw over to third base on a tag up. That just can't happen. So you can't bounce back all the time like you did in Game 1. It's not a recipe for success. So they got punched, and there was really no way to kind of counter that punch. In the 6th inning, they had 2 men on with no outs. JT struck out. Bryce Harper ended up grounding out into a double play. Other than that, and then the Kyle Schwarber situation with the foul home run that went foul, then almost hit one right after that, there wasn't much life. And then I got to look at Rob, and I have to wonder, with taking Bryson Stott out of the lineup, this is why it irritated me. Sometimes your offense is going to be quiet. We've seen that. They're very inconsistent. But we do know with Stott that there is a momentum grabber when he goes up there, and I even texted you, Ty, before this happened. There was a 12-pitch AB that ended up resulting in a walk. There's something to be said that if he's grinding you down, Verlander had an inning where he threw 31 pitches. He ate up 10 of those. There's so much value in what he provides. I don't think there's enough positives in Edmundo Sosa's game to take away Stott at this time of the year. So I just thought that was a bit bizarre, even though I love Rob and he does a lot of good things well. I didn't really see what he was doing there on that one, even though there is a lefty on the mound. So I was confused. When it's all said and done, though, heading back to Philly, you're in a good position here to make some noise in your home field. You're not in the worst spot, but I definitely don't feel as confident as I did after Game 1. Ricky? No, Ricky?
Number one, take what they give you. Okay, there was a good chance the Phillies were coming back 2-0. You're down 5-0 in a game against one of the best teams in baseball, and you end up coming back and winning that game. So take that one just as it is, as a gift. They got a gift in Game 1. Game 2, you know what? You get down. To me, it doesn't really matter. I look at different situations in a ball game, and when you watched Verlander in those first couple innings, I know Phillies weren't doing much in the first couple, but you could tell that he was going to give it up. I mean, he was rolling his breaking ball. His fastball didn't have a lot of bite on it. It was 94, 95 miles an hour. I think you knew you were going to get to him. I think the bigger problem, the bigger picture turns into your number 1 and 2 starters. I mean, if those 2 guys showed up in both of those games, I think you're sitting here in Philadelphia with a 2-0 lead and a very good chance to close it out. But momentum swings are everything in the game. And when you look back, you say to yourself, well, all right, we had some chances in Game 2. We didn't pull it off, but we did take 1 out of 2. And I really believe that this team, in general, has that thought process of, we're all right. We did what we were supposed to do. We took home field advantage from them. And I know Tyrone's going to say home field advantage only lasts until you will lose a game at Citizens Bank Park. Well, they haven't done that yet in the postseason, and this is yet to be seen. So I'm feeling pretty confident. Who knows who he might use out of the bullpen tonight, because he's been very crafty with his bullpen. He was crafty in Game 1. I look at this type of situation. If the bats come to play, I think the Phillies could send a statement back at the Houston Astros in this first game at Citizens Bank Park. And I think it needs to be done. I think you don't want to lose 2 in a row, because then you start getting that taste of losing again. What the Phillies need to do is jump on McCullers. You're going to see a lot of breaking balls from this guy. And I think that's the reason you saw Valdez in their Game 2. A lot of curveballs. I think he threw 42 out of his 100 and something pitches were all curveballs. So the Phillies had a hard time with that. I think McCullers is going to come in the same way. Although I think McCullers is more hittable. I think his ball is a little bit more seeable out of the hand. So I'm looking for the Phillies to jump on this guy and get the crowd into the game right away. Don't let the crowd disappear.
And now time to start the Twitter poll with Jen Scordo. Hello, Jen.
Hi, guys. So what's going to be the Phillies record at home here over these next 3 games? 4 answers, 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, or 0-3. Overwhelmingly right now at 57%, 2-1 is winning.
2-1, which in Philly means 1-2. And they're hoping. That's the bad part. See, last time, everyone thought, even though the Padres split, 70-some% said 3-0 when we asked this question before. Now it's dipping down, and that's because you no longer, even if you think they're going to win the next 2, we're now in a scenario where realistically, I think they could win tonight, great, win tomorrow with my guy Ranger, and then lose the Nola start again because I can't go by the odds of him being bad 3 in a row. I just know the last 2 times I've seen him, he's stunk, and the city's been bending over backwards to defend him, which is kind of embarrassing. Like, come on, guys. Like, have a little pride. I can't give up 5 runs in 4.1, and you guys say yippee skippy. Like, that was kind of pathetic what they were doing. Just because the bats came back and bailed them out and the bullpen was good and Rob Thomson managed a masterful game doesn't mean that Nola gave you what you needed in game 1. That was an unacceptable game 1. And then they said, well, Verlander was hurt. Verlander gave up 5 in 5 innings. They both stunk. Sometimes there's just stink out there. And this was the first time this year where I thought, oh, my goodness, this is now, in the playoffs, consistent stink, and you got it 2 games in a row from your starters.
It's weird because I thought Rob managed a great game in game 1. Once he had to go to the bullpen, he went to Alvarado a little earlier than I expected against Yordan Alvarez, but then he brings in Ranger to go against him the next time around, which I didn't see coming. You got to manage all these games like it's game 7 because you need to win game 1 because you see what happens in game 2 if you don't. So I'm not blaming Rob. I think this is just the snowball effect and the domino effect of needing to pitch to Alvarez the way that you did. But I'm going to be honest, I'm a little nervous. I would feel so much better with Ranger tonight. Because if you fall down 1-2, it's a lot different than being up 2-1 in game 3, after game 3.
The problem is the pivotal game always switches in these series, and right now it's sitting tonight. This is a real pivotal game for the Phillies. You don't want to drop 2 in a row. I think we all understand that. And, yeah, I think we would all feel a lot more comfortable if it was Ranger in there. But though you brought up Rob's managing. Rob is managing game to game. He's not managing tomorrow's game today.
Yeah.
And I, quite frankly, I think he's done a pretty good job of it. I think he knew you needed Ranger in that first game. And the strange thing was, I think Rob was playing in this sense. If I get Ranger in this game, he does what I need him to do. I'll have him for game 4, which is fine. But you also have an ace going in game 2 in Wheeler. I mean, the way he set up the rotation, you had to think one of those 2 guys would have stepped up, and it didn't happen. So you can't really blame Rob on the moves because you're not really looking in those first 2 games to be having to make a lot of moves.
Right.
And it turned out that you had to make a lot of them.
Yeah, the only move I think to this point that I'm disappointed with is keeping Stott out of the lineup. What did you think about that one, Ricky?
I like Stott. I don't care if there's a lefty-righty. I think I would keep him in there at all costs. Correct. And when you think back, and this goes back to even the regular season, when you needed a good at-bat from somebody to wear down a pitcher, he has been the starter of a couple big innings because of his walks. Not even because he got a big hit or whatnot, but he's had a couple big walks. He had a couple big hits in the early playoffs. I believe it was against the Braves at home. And when you have a guy that could be a spark plug like that, I have a hard time removing him from the lineup right now, especially the fact that he's letting everybody sitting on that bench that's in the lineup, he's letting those guys see every pitch that other pitcher has. I mean, that to me is invaluable.
He hits lefties better than he hits righties.
Yeah,
he could swing it.
It was a mistake. And I like Sosa. And if Sosa's coming in the game for me for the rest of the way, I'm going with the same lineup for all the rest of the games, by the way. I'm not messing around anymore. If I'm the manager, I'm not. And I only want to see Sosa in late in the game for Bone. I don't want to see him in for Stott. Stott's been fine defensively. If you need a defensive replacement for Bone so you don't have, trouble at both corners, that's the last time I need to see Sosa anymore this series. Now, if he's your guy next year, utility guy, you need guys like that. But in the World Series, I'm having Marsh out there and just deal with it. I'm having Stott out there and just dealing with it. I'm having a set lineup, and I'm going to see if these guys can get it done if I'm in charge. And I know people think we're being negative. No, we're not being negative. They got to 1-1. But just be honest with yourself before you call in 610-632-0975. Did anybody out there think they get to 1-1 with both of their starters being bad?
There's no way. If anybody answers yes, they're out of their minds.
And that's the part that gives the tinge of the negativity. It's not, it's bad that they're 1-1. No, far from it. It just doesn't look the way we thought it was going to look. So that provides a little bit of concern with Syndergaard, which we're going to get deeper into as the show goes, going tonight. Is Ranger up against it tomorrow night, having his patterns messed with, and then is that necessarily have to now be a season-saving start from a guy who's now had 2 straight bad starts? None of that's on the table if Nola, even if he loses, pitches better.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, okay, I saw this go in 7. That was what I thought would happen before the series began. But if they won game 2, that's the difference in me shifting to they might be able to do this in 4 or 5 compared to now I'm back to it going 7 because of how crucial coming back home would have been. Up 2-0, so them losing that game. That's why the tone might sound a little bit more towards the negative side, because I thought they lost a golden opportunity to do something very spectacular, even knowing Houston's very good and they're going to make you earn it. They could have stole one.
Let me go along with that. I know you guys picked them in Game 7. Okay, so you expected probably a split in Houston, but the way the split happened is not exactly what you expected, because I think all of us have seen Houston earlier in the year and at times during the year and know that they could go on these little runs. They have not looked good. They had 2 errors in the last game. I mean, that usually comes back to kick you in the butt. That didn't happen. And I think what scares Phillies fans is that we haven't seen the best Astros yet. And that's what scares people.
Rick and Easton, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yeah, I totally agree with Stott in the lineup. And if anybody reminded me, this is the only thing I'm saying about the Pete Rose analogy. Stott makes these pitchers throw anywhere between 9 and 11 pitches. It's pretty amazing if you think about it for his age and what he can do. And that could be a story for a different day in the lineup in the future.
Well, Mike, I mean, let's see how he does the rest of this World Series.
Of course. Well, he does foul off a lot of pitches. He has great at-bats, and I agree with Ricky on that. And here's my biggest concern. I really didn't analyze this pitching staff that the Houston Astros really had. My slant on stealing the first game was, you could see in the first inning, after Schwarber hit a foul ball almost 400 feet, Hoskins just missing a home run, and JT Realmuto lining out to right field, their first inning of that first game, you could see that Verlander possibly didn't have his best stuff. And I was thinking they had a shot to steal that game just based on that first inning. They could get to him. They were able to do that. But now that I've analyzed Verlander, Valdez, Garcia, Javier is their 4th best pitcher at 11-9 with a 2.54 ERA, which is better than our top 2 pitchers. With that, coupled with that bullpen of Abreu, Staniak, Montero had 14 saves, Presley had 33. I don't know how you can beat this team
Get better
with this
starting
lineup
pitching.
in a 7-game series.
Get better starting pitching from your top guys. We said in the beginning the path was to have win 3 of the 4 starts from your top guys. You split, which would mean to win a series, you need to have to absolutely win Game 5 and Game 6 with your top guys. The problem is both your top guys stunk, throwing a monkey wrench in. We knew the Astros were good. We were talking about it. The key to winning the series was getting a bunch of wins from your top guys. You got a win in Game 1, but he stunk. You didn't get the win in Game 2, and you know Game 5 at home, Nola has another crack at it.
Tyrone, with this lineup that we're trying to battle them with automatic outs with Mars, Castellanos, and Bohm.
Well, they're not automatic outs.
They're not automatic outs. They're not automatic outs.
Look, we crushed
this bus has got to get turned around.
Yeah, I thought
we
that was
are
too
heading
harsh.
in the wrong direction right now.
We rip Castellanos.
That's me saying this.
Yeah, we rip Castellanos all the time, but he did have a double that ended up coming around to score.
Yeah,
Bohm does do some things out there where we have a higher ceiling for these guys, but it's not like they're giving you literally 0. They might not be giving us to our full what we want. But the thing is with the fastball stuff, too, it's not that you saw a lot of the sliders and the curves getting hit as the game went on. So that's not to say that he was wrong with maybe some hittable pitches early on with the fastball, but he did a good job rolling through the first couple of innings. Once he went to the slider and the curve,
couldn't place it.
That's when they started to rock.
Started hanging over the plate. But look, we all still are picking the Phillies to win. Understand this. But the prescription was supposed to be good. Your starting pitching, because it doesn't. I don't say the lineup doesn't matter. What I'm saying is when your guys are on and they're hitting their spots, it almost doesn't matter who's on the other end because they can't hit. No one in this league can hit great pitching. The thought was your great pitching would deliver, and then you scrap through a Ranger game or tonight or one of the other games, but you get 3 of the victories from your top 2 starters who you knew were going to start 4 of the games. Ricky, you even said that word for word.
Yeah.
Get 3 of those. The issue that what causes us to be nervous isn't, oh, my God, they're going to lose, or, oh, my God, the Astros are unbeatable. It's that those 2 pitchers that you're banking on to be great were actually terrible. And that's the issue right there. Like 9.1 innings combined, 10 runs. By every definition, that's terrible. Now, you can say Verlander also stunk. I don't care. I got to worry. Their path wasn't just ride Verlander. Their path is a different path. They're favored because they have more ways to beat you. Their lineup could beat you, or their bullpen could beat you, or their starting pitching could beat you. It looked like the Phillies had a more narrow path to winning, and that path looks more narrow right now only because the starting pitchers that we're banking on were both really bad. That's all. We're not saying the Astros are unbeatable or this lineup. You can still beat this team, but now you're going to need Syndergaard and Ranger Suarez to deliver to get it back to Nola in a manageable spot. Because right now, I don't want to be down 1-3 and have Nola on the mound. That's not a comfortable spot for me.
And by the way, I think everybody should be aware that because we haven't really said much about the weather, that they are meeting. I believe it's 3:30. 3:30 Eastern time. The league is meeting, and they're going to give weather updates to see if they can get the whole game in, or they're going to try to play this thing or not. I mean, I that's a fun. I was asked today, do you think it would be good or bad for the Phillies to have a rainout tonight? I don't know.
What was your answer?
I said, oh, it'd probably be great for the bullpen, and you'd probably go to Ranger instead. So I think it would be good.
It'd be good. Apparently, I just asked the guy if the game gets moved, and now it's Thursday. The Eagles game now moves to apparently Fox Sports 1.
FS1.
That's where the Eagles game would be locally because it wouldn't be able to be on Fox 29 because then the Phillies would be on Fox 29. That's what I just heard. If the rain out happens. Now,
well, it'll be interesting to see what they do because I don't think they want that same mess that they just had in the NLCS.
Yeah, I'm interested in what's going to happen. I know people that have tickets and stuff.
I know I'm kind of looking around, and there are some reports coming in that the weather is starting to get a little worse in Virginia, and it's moving northeast.
So we will see. Joe in Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe's listening to his radio.
Yeah, I heard myself right there.
Yep, Gary in the Northeast. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Hello, Gary.
Hey, boys. How you doing?
All right, how are you?
I'll be there with my drums and my cheater signs. I'm going to be all over Altuve. Ricky Bo.
What?
I'm still upset that they didn't take away that World Series trophy after they were known that they were cheaters. Why was not trophy not taken away?
Not the first cheaters.
Yeah, I mean, there's been steroids. There's been a lot of things. A lot of people have cheated throughout the years in baseball. If you're caught before, that's one thing. If you're caught after, what does it really do? Think about it for a second. Okay, you got a trophy. Everybody knows you cheated, so nobody believes that you actually won that trophy.
Oh, I got one on the point. With these guys, why was Dusty Baker wearing plastic gloves?
He's been.
Did you see that?
That's Dusty Baker.
He's been wearing them forever, though, now.
Yeah,
really? Oh, I never knew.
For all we know, my man might have a condition or something.
Yeah.
Like, for all we know.
Okay.
He's an older gentleman at this point. I think he's north of 80, I think.
Dusty did pull a move out of his hat to challenge that play with Sosa. Yes. Just like when Acuna got hit by that pitch against the Braves, and Zach Wheeler had a couple moments there, and then it didn't go so well after that. He kind of lost his groove. Dusty pulled one out of his back pocket on that. He did not need to challenge that play.
It was savvy.
Yeah.
I think that was a savvy move by him.
So, Dusty, he's been wearing those gloves then.
It says, I just looked it up. It says it's a precaution for the pandemic, for COVID-19.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, because he's north of 80. He's worried about touching stuff.
Those gloves, you know?
So you think he's taking the grease?
He's
putting
giving
on
it to
one
his
of the
pitchers?
players?
Yeah, how's that going to work?
I don't
Because
know.
he doesn't play the game.
I don't trust that damn team at all, man.
We don't trust him either, but, like,
1 hour in, we got Eagles need to take away wide receiver screens out of their playbook.
Yes.
And Dusty Baker's gloves. That's where we're at today.